Hey girls, Tiffany Dawn here, and I'm here in baby Minnie's nursery because it's the cutest room in our house. And right now I'm 8 months pregnant filming this video, but by the time you watch it, baby Minnie will be a real person living in this nursery. And so you should totally join me on Instagram at Tiffany Dawn IQB to see what Minnie and I are up to in real time. But today I want to talk with you about something I've been thinking about the past few days, which is how to develop a relationship with God. And I was sitting in a coffee shop on Sunday with my husband. We like to go on Sundays and just like read and pray and think. But so we're sitting in the coffee shop and I suddenly felt like God put this thought in my heart that maybe developing a relationship with Him is sort of like the way I started learning how to play piano. So this will look different for every person because a relationship with God is so personal and intimate, but I think a lot of us will go through these stages, and I really think that this might be encouraging for you to know that there are stages when you might want to give up, and we'll talk about that more in a second. So the first stage for me was when I saw somebody else playing piano and I was so inspired. I was like, it was actually one of the worship leaders at the church I went to, and the way he played and sang, I was like, I want to be able to do that. And that was when I first got inspired to really learn how to play piano. And I think that when we're building our faith, a lot of times it kind of really starts for us by seeing somebody else's faith. And that was true for me. There was this lady at my church around the same time who just seemed to have such a close walk with God and just like felt like she was hearing His voice and just really loving Him, and I was so inspired, and I was like, I want that for me. I don't want to just see that in someone else. Like, I want a real walk with God for myself. The second stage for me was to start practicing, and I remember it being really fun at first. Like, I was just like, this is awesome, like so excited on this high, right? And I remember even sitting down with my dad, and he was like, if you always play on the black keys on the piano, it'll always sound good. And so he'd play and I'd play together like this duet and just make up our own stuff, improvising. And it was just this beautiful, sweet time of like learning the joy, falling in love with the idea of being able to play piano. And I think with God, it can be very similar. Like, just at first, it can start off feeling almost like really easy, just like this joy, this like falling in love with this idea of getting to know God and starting to fall in love with Him, starting to have your first taste of what God is like and how much He loves you. And you get hooked in a sense. You're like, this is what I want to know. I want to know you, Lord. And then we get to the third stage, which is where things can get a little tough. It's called discipline. And this is where practicing kind of got a little rough with piano, and I had to just practice and practice, and it was monotonous, and I didn't know the piano well enough for it to feel easy yet, and it just felt like doing a lot of hard work. And that's where I wanted to give up. I was like, do I really want to learn how to play piano this bad? Because this just feels like a lot of work right now. And I think my walk with God went through a similar stage of just that discipline and feeling like, is it worth all this hard work? Like, it doesn't feel easy. It doesn't feel fun right now. It just feels like hard work. And during this stage, for me, it was like reading a lot, really studying my Bible, getting to know my Bible, spending time praying with God, even though I didn't necessarily feel like it, setting aside time in my day to really be with God, pray, read the Bible, even when I didn't hear anything or feel anything, and when it didn't feel easy, and it just felt like a lot of hard work. But my mom likes to say that discipline precedes freedom. In other words, discipline comes first and then freedom comes. And a lot of people give up in stage 3 when things feel hard. But for people who keep pressing through and keep persevering, they eventually get to stage 4, which I would call the flow. And that's at that point where in piano I started feeling familiar enough with the instrument that I could just enjoy playing. It's not that it's always easy, but that you get to this place where it's like you're a little more familiar with how the piano works. You've got muscle memory going. And I think my walk with God went through a similar thing. I started becoming a little more familiar with the Bible. I started learning more about Him, starting to feel a little more natural, a little more comfortable and at ease, even as I was continuing to grow. And I just felt like this flow. Like, it started to feel more effortless, of just like this relationship with God, instead of feeling like hard work all the time. But then He'll still teach me these things that take a lot of discipline and take hard work, but there's this underlying ease even as you're learning the new things in God. And I just want to encourage you, like, if you're on that journey to developing a relationship with God, you might also go through these phases. And I just want to encourage you, if you're in stage 3, that discipline phase where things just feel like a lot of hard work, don't give up. It's so tempting to want to just give up and think it's not worth it, but it is, because that discipline leads to freedom, like my mom would say, and this ease and flow in your walk with God. So I love you girls. I'll see you next week, and don't forget to join me and Minnie over on Instagram. Bye.